In the Victorian era, hair became an important part of a woman's appearance, reflecting her status and femininity. Women never cut their hair, 19th century. Samurai in front of the Sphinx, Egypt, 1864. A Soviet soldier rolls a captured German bicycle while starving locals butcher a fallen horse for meat. Berlin, World War II, 1945. A man asking for help from a passing car during the brutal genocide in Rwanda, 1994. A test of the strength of a pipe with the inventor inside, Canada, 1920. The message that killer William George Heyrens wrote in lipstick on the wall of one of his victims' apartments. "For heaven's sake, catch me before I kill more. I cannot control myself." 1945. In a city in Georgia, USA, workers conducting repairs in a building discovered about 1,000 human teeth inside the wall. Studies showed the building was built in 1900, and the first tenant of the space was dentist Clarence Whittington. A South Vietnamese widow weeps as the bell at a Buddhist pagoda in Saigon tolls the fire, January 28, 1973. The United States began a sharp reduction in its troops in the country. Just a normal bus ride in Tirana, Albania, 1992. Behold the very first wireless telephone, pictured here in 1919. In ancient Greece, a gift of a rabbit from one man to another signified an intention to engage in intimate relations with the recipient. We want beer. Women's protest for the repeal of prohibition, USA, 1933. Dubai in 1985 and 2016. Residents of a Lithuanian village greeting a column of German tanks, 1941. U.S. military malaria medicine advertisement during World War II, Papua New Guinea, 1940s. Malaria, spread by a specific type of mosquito. A nurse holds a newspaper bearing the headline announcing the creation of the Salk polio vaccine for a patient, 1955. People pose for a photograph moments before they are struck by lightning. During the Battle of Stalingrad in 1942, the average life expectancy of a soldier on the front line was only 24 hours. An ancient bloodletting tool from 1850. This practice was common in Europe and Russia until the mid-19th century and was considered a primary treatment for many ailments. A party for both white and black children, Virginia, USA, 1958. In 1958, racial segregation in U.S. schools was legislatively abolished. Betty Page, a popular pinup model of the 1950s, became fascinated with religion at the end of her career, which affected her mental health. In 1972, she was admitted to a psychiatric hospital after attacking her family with a knife, believing they did not pray hard enough. She was discharged several times, but returned again. At 54, she attacked her neighbor, claiming that God sent her to kill. From then on, she remained in the hospital until 1992. Soul cleansing with boiling water. In some Catholic countries, it was once believed that a sinner's soul could be cleansed. For this, they poured boiling water down the person's throat or threw hot coals into it. In the 19th century in England, there was a man with a second face on the back of his head. Edward was an heir to the English peerage in the 19th century. He had an additional face at the back of his head that could not eat or speak, but was capable of laughing and crying. beer, and cigarette. During a break at the Super Bowl final, USA, 1967. How the Victorian corset damages the ribs, 1882. The Great Wall of China is regretfully called the longest cemetery in the world. Thousands of people are buried inside it. They died carrying enormous boulders to construct the wall. Mother and son watch a growing mushroom cloud during nuclear tests. Las Vegas, USA, 1953. The President of France, Paul Doumer, lights the eternal flame at the tomb of the unknown soldier. He himself lost all 4 of his sons in World War I. Scientist testing a diaper-changing invention. A man runs with a cart full of diapers during the Los Angeles riots, 1992. Despite strong pressure from the Catholic Church, Ireland allowed the free sale of contraceptives, 1978. The Church believed that sex was only justified for procreation. Leather welder's mask, 1930s. Lady driver, 1902. Hector the rat, France's first astronaut, 1961. A few hours before launch, Hector chewed through a bundle of cables transmitting information. After 8 minutes of flight, the animal safely returned to Earth. Members of the ultra-left Student Association protest against the arrival of the American nuclear submarine Sea Dragon at a naval base in Japan, 1964. Human Cannonball Act at a carnival, Massachusetts, 1991. Dance of Loyalty, a ritual dance symbolizing the dancer's loyalty to the country's leader, Mao Zedong, PRC, 1967. The interior design of a train more than 100 years ago. In the town of High Wycombe, every mayor is weighed in the town square. The tradition dates back to 1678. Residents believed that if a mayor gained weight, it meant he was stealing from the treasury and living too lavishly. A fine for an overtly revealing swimsuit. Heemskerk, Netherlands, 1931. North Koreans running in tears at the funeral of their leader, Kim Jong-il, December 17, 2011. Mormons imprisoned for polygamy, Utah, 1889. A person after a lobotomy, official treatment involving the removal of part of the frontal lobes or severing connections between brain sections, 1935. If you steal a loaf of bread, you go to jail. The Great Depression, USA, early 1930s. 6-year-old champion of a pie-eating contest, 1916. Testifying against the mob in open court, a high-stakes moment in the USA, 1933. A family portrait, a mother with her son, and instead of the father who died on the front lines of WWI, his greatcoat. Great Britain, 1926. Demonstration of the Devil's Wind execution method. This type of execution involved tying the condemned to the muzzle of a cannon and firing a cannonball through their body. 12 Soviet snipers who shot 775 German soldiers during World War II, 1945. U.S. Navy medic listens to the ground with a stethoscope to detect Viet Cong tunnels, Vietnam, 1968. Alcohol stash during U.S. Prohibition, 1926. On April 15, 1989, One of the most horrific tragedies in the history of English football occurred. 94 Liverpool fans were crushed to death, and 766 others were injured at Hillsborough Stadium during an FA Cup semi-final match against Nottingham Forest. Chinese celebrating the successful test of the first atomic bomb. Lop Nur Nuclear Test Site, 1964. Napoleon, the mascot of the French artillery during the Battle of Verdun, France. World War I, 1916. Blacksmith Patrick O'Neill without one arm and his special working prosthesis. England, 1929. Neil Armstrong's tearful eyes after walking on the moon, 1969. In 1942, a Chinese-American worker at a Los Angeles factory wrote on his back to identify himself as Chinese, not Japanese. One of the first tornadoes ever photographed, 1898. Animal rights defenders carry an alpine ibex, which will be released into the wild. Switzerland, 1954. A man celebrated the end of prohibition in the USA, December 5, 1933. Disabled activists leave their wheelchairs and crawl up the 83 steps of the U.S. Capitol, demanding the passage of disability rights legislation, March 12, 1990. Martin Lorello, born with the ability to turn his head 180 degrees, 1938. A boy plays with a homemade toy truck made of wire, Maun, Botswana, 1974. Margaret Hamilton, lead NASA software engineer for the Apollo program, stands next to the handwritten code that took humanity to the moon in 1969. Democratically elected President Salvador Allende just seconds before his death during a military coup at the presidential palace. Chile, 1973. From 1871, a ban on homosexuality was in effect in Germany. Even a kiss was punished. 50,000 people were convicted in the Third Reich. The law was not repealed after the war, and people remained in prisons until 1969. Hamas militants in the residence of Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas after its capture, June 15, 2007. Sailors of the battleship George V received their daily rum ration, 1910s. The first woman to attempt to vote. When trying to enter a polling station, she was pushed out and thrown to the ground. United Kingdom, 1872. Baker Daniil Kutinin died of dystrophy in besieged Leningrad. He did not take a single crumb of bread, despite thousands of loaves passing through his hands. After the death of Abraham Lincoln, he was reburied 17 times due to repairs and security threats, with the coffin being opened 6 times. He finally found peace only in 1901. A family portrait of a couple from the Netherlands, 1929, copy. The Maori chief Tomika Te Mutu wore a moko tattoo, which was applied using a chisel made from albatross bone. The moko displayed his battles, enemies, wounds, status, occupation, and marriages, 1875. Car washes in 1920s, USA. An American destroyer escorts a Soviet freighter carrying missiles from Cuba after the Cuban Missile Crisis, 1962. March into the underworld. The German unit Freiwilligen Legion Nederlande advances to the line of attack in the snows near Leningrad. 10 hours later, none of those captured in the photo were alive. Among the first 15 Roman emperors, only Claudius did not have love affairs with men. This was considered unusual behavior and ridiculed by poets and writers who said that loving only women made Claudius effeminate. In 1885, an ancient Maya statue was found in the jungles of Honduras by archaeologists. U.S. troops invaded Panama, allegedly to protect 35,000 American citizens, but in reality, to overthrow the government and regain control of the Panama Canal. The photo shows fighting near the Ministry of Defense of Panama, 1989. Japanese samurai respected the practice of shudo, homosexual relationships between a young man and a mature man, believing it taught young men honor, aesthetic sense, and dignity. Love for a woman, conversely, was considered softening for men. Window cleaner at the World Trade Center, 1979. Freed prisoners of the Vogelin concentration camp awaiting medical assistance. World War II, Germany, 1945. Iranian princess Anis al-Dawla had 145 fanatic admirers, 13 of whom died from depression after her rejection. The beauty of Native American women. Beluga caught in the Volga River, 1921. Combating cheating during exams, Netherlands, 1950s. A massive ocean sunfish weighing 3,500 pounds, 1,587 kilograms, caught by fishermen off Santa Catalina Island, California, April 1910. A strike by African American sanitation workers asserting their dignity. The signs read, "I am a man." USA, 1968. Park of Culture and Rest, Soviet Union, 1980s. The Eternal Smile, the Mummy of Hatshepsut, the most powerful female pharaoh in the history of Egypt. Japanese gangsters, Yakuza, 1960. The Great Ohio River flood of January 1937 submerged 70% of Louisville, rendering thousands homeless. Yet one surreal photograph remains from the devastation: a horse lodged high in a tree. This haunted every German. In this photo, a demonstrator tears down the Berlin Wall, dividing the city into two countries: Germany, 1989. 1945, France. A French woman is publicly shamed and has her head shaved for having a relationship with a German soldier. Throughout history, women have explored various methods to enhance their bust size, and this balloon contraption is among the less risky options. A cigarette butt collector, Paris, 1905. India, 1903. British colonizers made locals carry them on their backs, a disturbing symbol of imperial arrogance. Mandarin Wan Hu ordered 47 rockets to be tied to his chair to fly to the moon. The chair exploded and the Mandarin disappeared. The servants thought he had flown away. China, 16th century. In the photo, the 1st German Division of Sex Intelligence during World War II. They were selected based on their appearance. On February 11, 1990, Mike Tyson suffered his first loss. Whether this clip sparked joy, anger, or just a bit of annoyance, I want to hear your thoughts below. Stick around for part 2 coming soon. Please hit like and subscribe to support the channel. See you!